You can send stickers as a form of reaction. If you can still hear me clearly, please react with a sticker and then we'll move forward from them. Okay, awesome, perfect. Awesome, perfect. Thank you so much. So I'm going to move straight into our session with Fumbi, and I'll be giving a lovely description of who he is. Fumbi is not only someone who's an expert, but he is a highly skilled and results-driven software engineer with over 6 years of experience in developing robust, scalable, and innovative software solutions for high-volume businesses. As a technical leader in a startup and enterprise environment, Raji is passionate about leveraging cutting engagement and business growth. Currently serving as the head of engineering at 360CareerWise, Raji has spearheaded the development of a state-of-the-art fintech platform, significantly enhancing user engagement and transactions. His expertise includes designing multi-currency wallet systems, implementing advanced security protocols, and optimizing system performance to ensure seamless user experiences. He's well-versed in both front-end and back-end development with a strong focus in creating reusable, efficient, and security code. His experience also extends to DevOps, testing, and project management, where he has successfully led teams using agile methodologies and tools. With a proven track record of delivering high-impact software solutions, Raji Oluwafunbi is a dynamic and innovative leader who is committed to driving technological advancement and fostering growth in the tech industry. With no further ado, please welcome Raji Oluwafunbi as he'll be speaking on tech job salaries, understanding industry-specific pay trends.
Hello, everyone. Can you confirm you can hear me? Thank you so much for Kemi for that introduction.
You're welcome. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, awesome. So let's just get straight into it, right? So I've been told to speak on salary negotiations for tech roles, and that is what I'm going to be doing this morning. So to help us in terms of direction, yes, my name is Olafun Raji. So that aside, to help us with our session this morning, I would highlight an overview of what we'll be discussing. So we're going to be talking about what salary negotiation at its core means. Then we're going to be talking about stages of salary negotiations, and I have a session here titled "Before You Speak." Then at the end of the session, we'll have what's it called now? A hot takes session where I get to share two in quote controversial issues with us. So, with no further ado, taking that from Fikemi, let's dive into it. So, what exactly is salary negotiation? Salary negotiation is the communication of value, that is what you have to offer, under the right conditions for you to a willing party, a potential employer, to achieve financial fit for yourself in the organization. So oftentimes, the HR experts will tell you, "Oh, we're doing technical fit for you, we're doing culture fit for you," but in this conversation on salary negotiation, you are also doing what is called financial fit for that company to be sure that in terms of salary, you guys are aligned. And I want you to know that the core of salary negotiation is the communication of value, meaning you letting them understand that you have value to offer under certain conditions. For you, it could
Sorry,
be, oh,
Fumbi.
my country. Yes.
Sorry to
Hello.
interrupt you. We can't see your video and also your screen.
Oh, I'm sorry. How about
Okay.
now? Can you
Yeah, better.
can you see it now?
Yes, it's
Can you
sharing. Yes,
still?
we can now.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay, awesome. So, the core of salary negotiation, as I was saying, is you communicating value that you have to offer under certain conditions for yourself. The conditions have to fit into your own what's it called now, frame, into your own bracket. For you, it could be that my condition is I don't want to go to anybody's office to work, so I want a fully remote job. Hence, if you're going to be paying me a certain salary, I don't mind. That could be your condition, right? And all of this is just to achieve financial fit for yourself. So moving on, let me ask a question. So in your current job that you're doing now, if the salary is times five of what you're earning at the moment, and the job responsibilities stay the same, would you still complain about your job? So, say for instance, you're earning upwards of 500K, and you're currently complaining that they want to kill me in this company. I'm doing so much more for this company. This, that, that. Let's assume that salary becomes times five of what it is. So that's about 2.5 million, and that responsibility stays the same. Would you still complain about your job? You can let me know in the what's it called in the comment section. If you would still complain about your job given these conditions. For me, I won't. If you're paying me times five of what I'm earning at the moment, I definitely would not complain. Good. And this brings us to understanding that the low income or underpaid employees, underpayment rather, is one of the reasons people are frustrated about their jobs. Do you understand? And the reason why you need to take salary negotiation very seriously is because it is not just affecting you. That's the problem, right? Salary negotiation is not just affecting you, it is affecting the world. So it's affecting the entire world. So on my slide here, you see this highlighted text. It is a CNBC report, right? And it talks about the bottom line impact of disengaged workforce. What's a disengaged workforce? People that are not actively productive in their current roles. And it says that employees who are not engaged or who are actively disengaged cost the world $7.8 trillion in lost productivity, equal to 11% of global GDP. So, dear SARS and MAS on this call, your refusal to negotiate a very good salary for yourself is costing the entire world a lot of money, right? And let's talk about the stages of salary negotiation quickly. The pre-employment stage. This is before you get into the company, before you sign any employment contract. This is the best stage to negotiate a salary. Why? Because the salary you will be earning, the salary you negotiate with in a company, especially in this tech space, right, would most likely be the salary you earn for the next 2 years on average, except you work in certain companies where appraisals are done periodically and all of that. So you should understand that at this point is the best time to negotiate a very good salary for yourself with the mindset that this salary is what I'll be earning for the foreseeable 2 years. Do you understand? So that's the first stage. The second stage is the employment stage. This is where you're already in the company and you're productive and all of that. You can bring it up that, oh, I've been in this company for, say, close to 2 years or more than a year now, and I've upskilled, I've been productive, I've been able to deliver my KPIs. I think I deserve better. And you bring it up with your employer, and you guys can set milestones and all of that, and you get to get a higher salary. This is still mid. And the last one is the post employment, right? This one is quite tricky. Salary negotiation at this stage involves you actually going out there to secure a full time job, get an offer from that job, and bring it to your current place of work and tell them, I've gotten a better offer from a certain company that is offering to pay me a better amount. Can we dialogue on why I deserve a raise here? So meaning you are attaching sentiment to your current company, and this could be quite tricky to pull off because your current employers might not take you seriously. It's quite tricky. But the best time to actually negotiate your salary is before you even join the company, with the mindset that this salary I'm negotiating is what I'll be getting for the foreseeable 2 years. Now, the core of what we're going to be talking about today, before you speak. So before you engage anybody in salary negotiation, before you engage any company in salary negotiation, you need to know your worth. You know that thing that they say, oh, know your worth and all of that. It is literal in the context of salary negotiation. If you don't know your worth, the challenge with that is you either overprice yourself or undersell yourself. What do I mean by this? You could be a junior engineer. We've seen you during the technical stage, we've seen what you've done, because I've actually been involved in technical interviews and salary negotiations for my company. And I've seen these junior engineers, I've seen what you've done. What you've done is not actually what's it called now? Is what you've done is not a senior tier sort of work that you've done, right? And in Nigeria, you as a junior engineer, you're negotiating a salary of 100k, 900k. You're negotiating a salary of 800k, 900k. It is not feasible in this country for a junior engineer to earn that much. Am I saying it's impossible? No. But I'm just saying be realistic, right? It is not feasible. You understand? So you need to know what level are you in this tech journey, and this would help you sort of plan your foreseeable salary and manage your expectations when it comes to the expected salary you're supposed to get. Now, understand the role. Don't be the UI UX. Let me share a personal story. I once worked at a company here in Nigeria. I was employed as a digital marketer. Note, digital marketer. For this company, in my first month of joining, the company's website was down, and guess who they called upon to fix it? The digital marketer. I also do graphics for the company. I also do IT support for the company. The digital marketer in this context, myself, was engaged in the recruitment of the technical team that will come and fix the company's website. I was spearheading that interview as a digital marketer. And you can imagine if you can guess accurately the amount I was being paid, I have a gift for you, but I don't want you to guess. But trust me, if your bet is definitely you'll be paying you upwards of 500k. You are absolutely right. Just remove 10 from the 500k. Remove 10 from the 500k. That was how much I was earning. Do you get? So you need to understand your responsibility clearly. Don't be that UI UX engineer that is doing cloud services and all of that. All of this would help you know this is how much I should actually ask this company to pay me. Do you understand? It doesn't speak well that you have to do so much and you're earning little. Do you understand? So if you don't understand the role, you would underprice or not even price yourself properly. Do you understand? Also, you need to research the industry. Use the location of the company to sort of determine your expected salary. All this you're doing is before you even negotiate. You need to understand all of this, right? As a developer in Nigeria, you need to understand that it is very easy for a senior level developer. It is very easy, not even a senior, a mid-level engineer in the US to negotiate a 10k salary, 10k monthly salary, meaning that you're earning $10,000 every month. It is very easy. I have first-hand experience with this. As to you as a mid-level engineer, you can actually earn upwards of $10,000 monthly. But for that is because it's in the US, right? But in Nigeria, you as a senior engineer, it is very difficult to negotiate $5,000 salary in Nigeria, right? So you need to understand the industry and the economy of of the company you're trying to engage in salary negotiation. You need to know that if you know this, right, you make realistic expectations as to how much you should be earning from that company or in that country. Do you understand? And that speaks to even if you're working remotely now. So if you're working for a remote company in the US and you're trying to engage them in salary negotiation, this would also help you understand that you won't go there and they will be asking how much you want to be getting a salary, and you're saying, if I just say $500, Olga, that doesn't make sense, right? So let's go to next thing. You need to research the company. Oftentimes, in my experience, right, startups tend to pay higher salaries with lesser benefits and the likes. But what's it called now? Established companies get to pay reasonable salaries, but it comes with a lot of benefits, compensation, and the likes. In one of the companies I worked previously, before I share that story, right? The reason I'm bringing this up is because you need to know what you're going for. If you're working for a startup, you should understand that I might get higher salary, but little benefits, and because it's a startup, the brand is not well known, and branding is actually very important in your career, not even for just the sake of salary. I once worked in a company where the accountant in that company got the job solely because he had PepsiCo as one of the companies he has worked with, and that was the bias the company used to sort of employ him. So you need to also understand this when you're engaging companies. So if you're negotiating with a startup, you know that they don't have the brand equity to bring you up, so you should be able to earn more. Yeah, so you should push for a higher salary. Also, you need to have a man for the ladies here, that doesn't mean you should go and look for a boyfriend. What that is simply saying is that you should have a man, a minimum acceptable number. What do I mean by this? Before I got the current job I was in, one of the things I said for myself was I want to be earning times two of what I'm currently earning in the previous company. So every time I'm negotiating the salary and you ask me how much do I want to earn, let's assume I was earning 20 naira in the previous company. I'll tell you, and you ask me what's your current salary? I'll tell you my current salary is 40 naira. And luckily for me, the current role I got paid me more than the salary I sort of negotiated. But it has to be something personal to you. Taking into account your level as a software, if your level in this tech space and understanding the country and the company as well. And lastly, you should be flexible. Some companies get to pay you. You should be able to say, okay, even though this is an established company, they're paying me less, but I'm getting more benefits. You're getting annual leave. You're getting, which is standard actually. You should be getting annual leave. Trust me. You should be getting, but you're getting healthcare. You're getting all of those incentives, right? Some companies go as far as if you join the company and you are married or you're married, they give you health HMO for the entire family. So if you are in that space, you should also be flexible to say, okay, I don't mind taking a certain amount since I'm getting much more benefit. Do you understand? So these are things you should do before you engage a company, before you speak. Now, to my hot takes, because I'll be rounding up pretty soon. Should you get a new job or should you negotiate salary in your current role? One of our speakers is going to be addressing that, but I just want to show you something. It says a career change may be the best option to increase one's salary prospect. Job hoppers saw a 35% salary increase over the last 3 years, nearly double that of tenured employees. This is a report published by Forbes. I've attached it here, but I don't know why it's not, the link is not showing up. Anyways, this was published in 2023 actually, and this was my experience. To get salary increases, I needed to job hop at some point. So if I'm leaving company A and negotiating with company B, if you're asking me for my current salary in company A, I'll tell you, oh, it is, say, a certain percentage above what I'm currently earning. And that way, I'm leveling the playing field for myself, because oftentimes those companies that I get to work with, they tend to tell you, oh, okay, we'll pay you a bit higher than what you say you're currently earning. Now, you should also consider this. Are you growing, or you're just stuck? Whether you're starting a new job or vying for position or promotion, you should always be negotiating. The reality is that 20% of people always negotiate their salaries, while 40% never do. You should always be negotiating your salary. Why is this important? You don't want to be that disgruntled worker. And to be honest, money is not everything, but money answers a lot of things. And when you're negotiating, what you want to do is ensure that how much you're taking home is worth the stress that you're going through. Because trust me, if you are in the tech space, you know, not even in the tech space actually, every job is stressful. Every job that you do on a day to day is very stressful, and you need to negotiate something good. And lastly, I'll just tell you that when you're negotiating, take this. Don't negotiate your gross salary. Negotiate your net salary. How much is entering your account? Thank you very much. I'm Oliver from Baraju. And it was really nice speaking with you.
Thank you so much, Fumbi. A round of applause for him. Honestly, thank you for making that pretty brief but very impactful. So thank you so much. And I'm so glad that you've moved from 50 remove 100 salary, 50 remove 0 salary to, a salary that is impactful. So congratulations from going from 50K to the hundreds. I don't want to assume how much Fumbi is earning because he didn't want to say it, he was sugarcoating it, but one day it will be revealed. So thank you so much again, Fumbi, for that presentation. We really, really appreciate it. There was something he mentioned, and he was basically talking about how you shouldn't negotiate with the general salary that they put on your letter. Negotiate with what is entering your account and double it. My own belief is multiply it by 3. If nobody argues with you, keep multiplying it and keep moving. So do not forget that this is being streamed on YouTube. So you can just search 360 Done and it will be shared. You can take the link and share it on your group chat, share it to friends who you believe should be here. So just take a moment to help us share this link to other people because, yes, you're gaining a lot, but there are other people who love to gain a lot as well. And do not forget to subscribe on there as well. So if you have any questions from Fumbi's session, you can drop them in the chat and we'll attend to them during the Q&A session. So once again, thank you, Fumbi. And we'll be having so many questions for you later on. I personally have a question, but I'll leave it to the Q&A session. Just prepare for us. So next up, we'll be having another amazing session, but this time we'll be talking on mastering the negotiation table. So basically how to have effective strategies for maximizing your offer, and she'll be sharing proven techniques to negotiate better salaries, bonuses, and benefits. I know all of us are very interested in this because who doesn't like bonuses? Who doesn't like benefits, especially in Nigeria? And to take this session, we'll be having Chidima Eke. Now, Chidima is currently, sorry. Okay. Chidima is currently the head human capital management and sustainability at African Prudential PLC, where she's responsible for aligning the company's human capital with its objectives to enhance overall business performance. In addition to this, she is also responsible for championing and building the organization's ESG initiatives. With over a decade of experience in human resources, Chidima has also had work experience in advertising, corporate communications, strategy, sustainability, and project management. As an astute HR professional with a passion for people development, she is skilled at fostering both business and employee growth. She has successfully championed culture enhancement and organization redesign projects in organizations where she has worked. With a passion for personal development, she volunteers her time with various community groups and projects, earning her several people development awards. She also shares her thoughts, leadership articles on LinkedIn and other social media. Prior to joining African Prudential PLC, Chidima held leadership roles in the manufacturing and services industries, where she focused on creating workplaces that enable employees to thrive and contribute significantly to organizational success. She holds an MBA from Nexford University and a BSc in psychology. She's a certified senior professional in human resources international from HRCI and is a full member of the Chartered Institute of Personal Management, where she has held various leadership and committee roles. On that note, please let's give a round of applause to Chidima Eke as she takes us on mastering the negotiation table. I'm super interested in this, and I'm sure you will be as well. So while Chidima is having a session and she's coming up, please make sure you drop your questions for her as she'll be taking hers immediately after her session. So she's going to give us some time. So once again, let's give a round of applause to Chidima as she comes up for her session. Thank you so much for joining us today, Chidima. You have the floor.
Hey, thank you very much, Fikemi. Good morning, everyone. So while Fikemi was reading my profile, I had wanted to interrupt her to say, forget everything else she's saying. What is most important this morning that you need to know is that Chidima is a working mother. And the reason Chidima has to take her questions immediately after her session is because my childcare fell through. So I'm doing this presentation right now and I'm monitoring her with one eye. So if you hear Coco Melon in the background, Coco Melon is also babysitting. If you hear Coco Melon in the background, please just take it as background music. My sincere apologies for that. Okay, so we'll get right into it. Negotiations. So okay, so you need to enable me to share my screen.
Or it says I'll just share the document from you on my end for you on my end.
Okay, I've made some changes and updates to my phone.
Okay, I think you can share your screen.
Okay. Oh, it still says it's not turned on. I think you need to probably make me a co-host or something.
Okay, let me do that again. I think I did that, but you, okay. It should reflect anytime soon.
Okay. Okay, so while we're working on that, let's just ruminate. It's going to be a very interactive session. I like for you to respond to me in the chat room, or if you can unmute yourself, if you will not be very distracting. We've all probably negotiated at one point or the other. We've probably this morning or at the most recent beats, officially, be it unofficially, in the markets, you're buying groceries or you are negotiating with your mechanic, the handyman that's around your house. Okay, so I'm now a co-host. We all have experience negotiating in one way or the other, but sometimes we just don't think of it as negotiation. We just think of it negotiation in the workplace. So I'm sharing my screen now. Please confirm you can see.
Yes, I can.
Okay. Okay, so I'd like for us to share some stories of negotiation experience, be it in the workplace or be it buying tomato and pepper. How well do we negotiate? Do we have the African mother spirit of negotiation that maybe when the seller says, oh, my best price is 1,000 naira, you end up buying it for 50 naira? Or you are the kind that you don't have energy for negotiation. If they say this is the price, I'd rather go and look for someone who's going to sell it for 50 naira. So can we share very quickly how good we are at negotiation? Are you a master negotiator or not? Or you just take it as you see it? So I'd like to see some comments in the chat room. Okay, Eniola says she wishes she could speak for a few minutes. I don't know if this. Oh no. Okay, so Flora says she's terrible at
Oh,
it.
no.
Wow. Okay, and Eniola says she's fairly good. Queenite says she's very terrible at it. So, the truth is, like every other skill, so negotiation is also a skill that you get better at with practice. So, the more you negotiate, the better you are at it. So let's even take the open market as an example. You know, sometimes you go to market and then you negotiate for a certain item at a certain price. And then you somehow feel that, oh, the vendor agreed very quickly, and then maybe I did not get the best price. Or maybe you asked about the price somewhere else and you find out that, oh, I did not do very so. What I thought was a very good deal was not a very good deal. So, but like I said, you get better at it. And then as we speak further, and some of the insights that have also been shared by the past speaker, we would also see tips to help us get better at negotiating everywhere. So firstly, so what is negotiation? The first speaker has spoken to that. So negotiation is a discussion aimed at reaching an agreement. A win-win is what's best. So you see the Venn diagram on screen. So there's a region of what you want, what the other party wants, what is logically possible. And then the sweet spot is where it all comes together and everybody is happy and everybody goes home happy. So, effective strategies for maximizing your offer or negotiating a pay increase. The number one and the most important point is to ensure that you're a valuable resource. And how do you ensure that you're a valuable resource? You need to invest in personal development and branding. The truth is, every organization is going to pay for value. Nobody is going to pay for just for paying sake. They are going to pay to ensure that they get value. So you need to ensure that you're a valuable resource. That would help you to negotiate better. Next, you need to time it right. You need to negotiate. Either you negotiate when you have an offer in hand before you sign. I sit in interviews a lot and I ask people, what would you like to earn? And they start telling me the organization should have a benchmark, a band, pay band. I'm willing to go with what the organization is willing to offer, blah, blah, blah. And inside my head, I'm just rolling my eyes to say, guys, girls, you don't know what you're doing to yourself. Because that is the best time to negotiate, to state what it is that you would like to earn. Can you give me a minute, please? Just a minute, please.
Okay, so while she's going for a bit, let's not forget that you can share this link with your friends and get them on board. This is a very interesting conversation, and I'm sure there are a lot of people in your life that you want to learn from this. So feel free to share it on your statuses. If you want me to send you the link directly, I'll be able to. Welcome back, Chidima.
Thank you, Fikemi. Apologies for that. Remember the caveats I gave and the apologies I had given earlier on. So moving on, then if you're negotiating outside of the organization, but if you are inside the organization already and you are negotiating the reviews, unless it's expressly written in your contract, negotiating at the point of maybe confirmation, like I hear that a lot, so my salary is not changed. Unless it's written in your contract, that is the worst time to negotiate. The next best time to negotiate would be during performance reviews. By then, you've been able to show your achievements, you've been able to show workings, and you can use those achievements as leverage to negotiate. And going back to negotiating before you join the organization, I would always say to people that do not negotiate or search for a job when you're desperate. Your desperation may negatively impact the outcome. It's always best to start searching for your next job. If you want to get value from your next job, start searching from your next job before you actually need to move. That is the only time that you can negotiate and you can get the best value. But if it's when you're desperate, when that organization has become uncomfortable, you would probably not get value because you really would like to move at that point. So next point, carry out your research. What's the industry rates for the role that you are currently filling? What's the company financial health? How much can the company pay? Because the truth also is the fact that all organizations are fintech doesn't mean that they are all they all carry the same health. So if you ask for a value that is above what the company can pay, no organization is going to run themselves into the ground for salaries, and it's not even sustainable. So you earn the desired salary for a few months, and in a few months the organization can no longer afford it, and perhaps they need to close shop. So the company financial health is also important. That way, if the organization is unable to pay what you would like to earn, perhaps you need to look elsewhere. The role value is also important that you put that into consideration. And then what's your price point? What is it that would be a good salary for you? Take everything into consideration. I usually tell people, so what would it cost you to come to work every day, really? So your cost of transportation, where is your role? Is the organization physically located in a place where you need to commute every day? Do they work fully on site? Is your workplace in Lekki and you live in perhaps Badagry, which means you need to move closer to work. So you need to factor all that into your negotiation to say, okay, this is what I'll be paying in rent, this is what we're going to transportation, this is what the cost of living is. And the only way you can be able to do all that is, remember what I said, do not negotiate when you're desperate. When you're uncomfortable, you'll be able to bring all of that to the table, and then you have your own price points. You know that, say, below this amount I can't go. It won't be a good one for me because I'll not be, my take home will not be able to take me home. Then next, you need to prepare your case. So highlight your value and achievements, leverage other offers where available to be able to get the best offer on the table. And of course, when you're at the negotiation table, after you've prepared, ensure that you're professional, ensure that there's a win-win. So if the company pays you X, what's the value that they're getting for that X? And then you also need to know the value that you are getting for that amount. So be very calm, handle objections and pushbacks gracefully. Be confident, not arrogant. Again, you can only be confident if you're negotiating from a position of strength, from a position of comfort, to know that, okay, if this doesn't work, there are other options on the table. And do not be arrogant, because negotiation, again, is one of the interactions we have in the workplace. And you are still going to need to, the world is a very big, small place. That's what I tell people. Even when you need to close doors, close it very gently. You don't know if you need to come back through that door. You don't know if you need to reach out to somebody on that table for something in the future. Avoid proposing a figure. Unlike in the marketplace, whereby you say, this person says he's selling this for 100 naira, and you say, I'm going to buy it for 50 naira. In the workplace, if you propose a figure, it's 50-50. It's dicey, really. The figure might be a figure that might end up working for both parties, but you might also undercut yourself. So avoid proposing a figure. Let the other party propose a figure first. Most likely they will not propose their best figure on the table, unless maybe the other party is also someone that doesn't like all those plenty negotiations. So just like if you are buying tomatoes in the market, you don't want to start, if you know you want to buy for 15 naira, you don't want to go to 30 naira, then you go to 35 naira, you go to 40 naira, unless both parties are that way. But the truth is, you just never know unless you know that person very well. And then again, the world of work now is that people are looking beyond salaries, organizations are looking beyond salaries. There are other benefits that can be on the table: bonus, stock options, time off, education allowance, education grants, education time, health insurance. At what stage in life are you? In my experience, so you see the single Pringles when they come into the marketplace, HR is the one running after them to complete their HMO form. They would not want to complete it because for them, really, perhaps they've been blessed with good health, no health issues, so they don't need to go to the hospital. So for them at that point, health insurance is not a biggie. They are not paying attention to what's on the benefits. Whereas once the person crosses over into the other side, into the marriage circle, and now the wife is probably going to, or if they are the wife themselves, maternity is now on the front burner, vaccinations are on the front burner. So they want to be able to know, okay, so what is covered? Can my wife go to a hospital of choice? Can my child be vaccinated at a hospital of choice? What are the vaccinations that are covered? At that point, health insurance is covered, is important for the person. So for you as the individual that's also negotiating, you may need to look beyond money to say, okay, so if I can't get XYZ, I want comprehensive health insurance that will cover this. Or I want to go for my master's, an MBA and MSc. So I want the organization to cover it. So if they're not giving me money, let them cover my education bills, or let them give me time off because I want to do a full-time or a hybrid session. Or stock option. I've given quite a bit to this organization. I want to be a part owner of this organization. Whatever it is, that you should be able to be flexible to say, beyond money, all these other things are important to me. What is the organization willing to give, and how will it work for me? And after you have negotiated, documents. Ensure that there's a written confirmation of agreement that is signed by all parties. Do not believe the best of the other party to say that, oh, I know Chidima, she's a stand-up lady. Chidima is also human. It might not even be that Chidima intends to cheat you. She's also human. There's only so much the human brain can remember. Now, will she be able to remember that we agreed on 100 naira plus stock option of 5% or 7%? Okay, we spoke quite a bit. We negotiated quite a bit of 5% and 7%. Where did we agree on? What did we land on? There are so many distractions. It might not just be that the person is trying to be on is trying to cheat you out of something, but people can genuinely forget. So ensure that there's a written confirmation of agreement. And even if something is being deferred, because you might also agree to defer some things, to say, okay, fine, we'll give you an extra 50% now, but maybe 25% in the future. Please document it, so that in future you are not coming back to say, but this was what was agreed, and the other person is saying, no, that was what was agreed. Even if it's an agreement to say, okay, this is what we are currently doing with PBT, so this is what we can afford. But when the company's fortunes increase, we'll be able to move to this. Please document everything. Do not assume that the other person has said this, and then when that happens, that would happen. Because again, you may be negotiating with Chidema today, tomorrow it's Fikemi does not, Chidema did not transmit anything to Fikemi. Fikemi does not have to but if you have something documented, that is something that you can share, so that you do not have a case of what you ordered versus what you got. Please ensure that you document everything. So in rounding off, I'm going to show this infographic story that speaks to you negotiating with your value that you come with, and of course, alongside value is skills and branding. So let's look at Jack's story. Jack has worked so very hard, and it's not looking like this bag that he needs to secure, like it's going to move. So Jack is at a point where he's saying, this is stupid. I put in so many hours at work every day. After 10 long years, I still have nothing to show for it. So what's the deal? Now, we'll tell you what's the deal. Jack has probably placed too much emphasis on hard work. And hard work is important, yes, but it's not the only thing that matters if you want to reach your goals. So we are going to explain. Look at the waiter. Waiters work very hard, long hours on their feet. Some of us as customers are not very good customers. So waiters should be paid very well, right? So perhaps a waiter should earn like $20,000, or maybe let's look to the cart pushers on the streets in the markets. They work very hard, earn very well. Shouldn't they be paid as much as the CEO? I'm sure nobody would agree. We would all say that's ridiculous, because for starters, their work does not justify to earn as much as the CEO. And their work has low barrier to entry. You don't need any skill, well, a lot of skills to do it. You can train a waiter in a few hours. So somebody walks in off the street, you train in a few hours and they're ready to wait tables. Truck pusher, you just need someone who's very strong and can push the cart. So you don't need super skills. So it does not justify paying so very much, but it is trainer's work. So start that with your own role as well. Are you in a role that is a low barrier to entry role? Do you have differentiating skills that will justify you earning that amount that you want to earn? Because you might work hard at your job, but so do many other people. You're an HR professional, there are a million other HR professionals on HR on in LinkedIn. Whether they are HR professionals or just HR practitioners, there are a million others. So how do you differentiate yourself? Because how much you get paid for your job depends on the other people doing the same job. It also depends on how much others are willing to pay for you. The law of demand and supply also is important, also is impact in the world of work. Then, okay, so fine, you get it now. But you see a lot of other people that work hard. Perhaps they don't even work as hard as you are. They are not as capable as you, but they get paid more than you do. It's possible that you don't see the value that they are bringing to the table, or they have been able to crack something that is very important. They know how to look good in front of the boss. They know how to show that they are doing the work. They're not just doing the work, but they show that they are doing the work. And they have the skill of visibility and persuasion. So they're very visible and they're able to persuade. And that's something that every professional needs to have at the back of their mind. We encourage everyone to have sales skill, because it doesn't matter if you're selling a product or you're selling a service, or even in HR, product development, whatever it is that you're doing, you need to be able to persuade the other person to your line of thinking. And that is something that is very important for every professional. Being good at your job is not the only thing that is very important. It may have been true in the past. Perhaps the boomers, you're good at your job, and one day the world will notice, and eventually it will get to your turn. That's not the way it is right now. You need to work hard and you need to work smart. Technical proficiency is important. A great attitude is important. Leadership skills and emotional intelligence is important. The soft skills as much as the hard skills. Having good relationship with others. A lot of us do not want to play office politics, but unfortunately, if you do not play office politics will play you. Visibility, persuasion, and presentation, all of these are important. You need to ensure that when you're out of sight, you are not out of mind. That is the only way to earn value. So we're not saying hard work is meaningless, but it's a complementary to a lot of all those other things. And you find that at a senior level, technical skills are less emphasized and behavioral skills are more emphasized. Visibility and persuasion do not come naturally to a lot of people. Some people just want to do their hard work and not have to speak all the plenty English or negotiate very much or be very nice to the bosses. But all those are really very important, really, unfortunately, for the introverts. So you look at it this way. Hard work is not a guarantee for success, but it is the bedrock. You can work hard and at something that people do not really care about, but you can also work hard at things that people care about. So what is it that the organization cares about? You need to find that out. What is it that your line manager cares about? You need to find out that thing, and you need to ensure that you are also working hard at it. Luck is also very important, but luck also needs to meet preparation and opportunity. You need to ensure that you're working very hard. You need to ensure that you're visible. You need to ensure that you're very good at persuasion. The soft skills and the hard skills, having good relationship, all of those are very important. And all of those will help you as well when you come to negotiation table. You don't want to be negotiating with somebody who perhaps you don't have a very good relationship with. That has already created a barrier, and you will not be able to get much success from that negotiation. So good relationship, technical proficiency, hard work, great attitude, leadership skills, emotional intelligence are all very important. It would help you in your line of work. It will perhaps even help you so that you don't need to negotiate so very much to get what it is that you want. So if you do not remember anything, remember this: work hard, work smart, have good relationship with your colleagues and even out in your industry. Ensure that you have good leadership skills. Be able to lead yourself, even if you are still an individual contributor. Self-leadership is very important. Your line manager doesn't want to have to follow up with you 100 times to be able to do for you to do what you need to do. He doesn't want to have to review 100 times. All of these are things that are going to are going to be brought to bear at the negotiation table. Thank you very much, everyone. I'll take questions now so that I can go and attend to some other duties.
Okay, thank you so much, Chidima. Let's give her a round of applause. That session was packed and so insightful. There were so many tips. For me, one of the major tips I took was make sure your take home is able to take you home, which is very key. Like, it's something we need to have ringing at the back of our minds every time. So when you're negotiating, quickly calculate, would this take home actually take me home? So thank you so much again, Chidima. Thank you even for the coming on with everything going on. We really appreciate you. So we'll be having your questions now. You can drop them in the chat. Yes, please drop them in the chat. If you have any questions for Chidima before she goes, please drop them in the chat. I'm going to give room for about 5 minutes for that to be done. But while that is going on, Chidima, I actually have a question for you. You mentioned something earlier about when you're having an interview with someone and they don't exactly want to state, what they want to earn. And there's also the case where they tell us, oh, don't state, so that you don't end up making less than what you should. Because I've been in the position before where I was negotiating, was not exactly negotiating, I was made an offer and I was about to make an offer to someone and they told me what they were going to pay. And it was like, let's say they were going to pay me 20 naira and what I was going to offer was 5 naira. So because they offered first, it was able to help me, position myself properly. So in that situation, what do you advise them to do? So how do they find the perfect blend between both? Not wanting to, restrict yourself to what they tell you, but also being able to state your price.
Okay, all right. So we goes back to you doing your research because
Yeah.
we would sometimes insist. So you need to be able to have done your research. What's the industry rate? What's the market value for the role that I'm coming into? So at least so that if when push comes to shove, and then you have to actually provide a sum, so that you will not be underpricing yourself. So at least whatever sum that you are indicating will be the minimum perhaps for that rate. So you need to have done your research. If possible, again, which goes into your network or your network, you can get an insight into what the organization pays. So that you can be able to also state clearly and state a good amount.
Yeah.
But at the basics, do your research and
Mhm.
ensure that whatever amount you state is not below your price point, really, so that
Mhm.
even if you are underpaid, at least whatever you are paid will be able to take you home.
Yes, I absolutely agree. Thank you so much for that question. Okay, I think someone just dropped a question here. I just resumed a role. Okay, Bukola actually had a similar question, so I'm glad that was on point. Flora says, in your experience, do you think certain genders are better or more confident when negotiating? What do you think,
Yes,
Chima?
unfortunately.
Oh.
Yes. Straight answer, unfortunately. Like they say, guys will negotiate with their full chests. Ladies will be a lot more circumspect, unfortunately.
Mm.
And so that is also something that we need to come out from as ladies, and we need to be a lot more confident. Men have audacity. Only very few ladies have audacity. So that's the thing, really. If you've built value and you know you're coming to give value in the organization, there's absolutely nothing stopping you from asking for the sun, moon, and the stars, whether you're a male or you're a female. The male gender are more confident when it comes to negotiating, and that's why they get paid better. Unfortunately, not all organizations are structured, and they would pay you based on what it is that you have asked for. So please, ladies, build audacity,
Yeah.
build value, and ensure that you are not undercutting yourself.
Okay, thank you so much for saying that, Chidima. And I hope we've been able to take note. Like she said, guys have a lot of audacity. Like we're not shading them, but we're just pointing out the obvious, something we can learn from them. So have audacity, like audacity that says, okay, I want to build a mansion in 2025. Okay, the next question here is, I just resumed a role as a project manager, and most people I'm leading, stakeholders, are way older than me, even though they all don't know my age. However, I earn more than them and all of them, and some people are already giving me some sort of attitude, especially the HR. My question is, how do I effectively man my position without having to disregard anyone? And she said, I'm part of the few ladies who, when it comes to negotiating my earnings, please. So her question is, how can she effectively man her position without having to disregard anyone, especially in the situation she is where she's younger and she's also earning more, and even HR, that employed her is giving her side eye. So how can she navigate it? Thank you so much, Eniola, for that question. Chama. I'm sorry,
Okay.
Chima.
Okay. All right. So Eniela, this is where you need to bring your relationship skills to bear. Fortunately for you, you're not alone in this boat. In the world of work now, we have a lot more younger people coming in, and based on their skills, they are coming into leadership position. And we have the older generation who have not been as proactive with building their skills. So you see a younger person coming into the world of work, coming to supervise someone who they are half as old as, and they're earning twice as much as, and the other person is of course not happy with it, because as much as we try to say salaries are personal, salaries are open secrets in every organization that I've worked. I haven't seen anywhere where they say A doesn't know what B is earning. It is not possible. So we have to accept that as a given, and then we have to work with it. So this is where relationship management skills come in. You need to be firm, not aggressive. You need to be able to ensure that you carry along everyone as you do your work, and try to, as much as possible, do not roll over, but as much as possible, try to win them over. You know, there's a difference between winning over and rolling over. So you need to ensure that so they don't use you as a pushover because you want to win them over. So be firm, but not aggressive. Try to cultivate a relationship with the ones that is possible. Some people will definitely be standoffish, but where possible, cultivate a relationship, and then let your competence speak for you, really, because they would also try to trip you up, try to show that, okay, she's not as hot as that. So let your competence speak for you. Ensure that you're leading with competence. Ensure that you're leading with empathy as well. Some of them also, it's their generation that did them in. Their generation was not as aggressive as ours. So, and they lost a lot of time when they would have perhaps developed themselves. So do not look down on them. There's also a place for historical knowledge. So they may not be very competent, they may not have a lot of skills, but their length of service may also have helped them to have a lot of history that may also help you. Because in the workplace, there's the science and the art. Everything is always, you will not always mix hydrogen and oxygen and get water. Sometimes if you're not careful, you get hydrogen peroxide. So there's the science and the art, you need to balance it. And that's where a lot of history also comes into play. So you also need to leverage the knowledge that these people have. So be firm, be confident, be competent, try to build relationships, but do not roll over, please. Ensure that everybody knows. You don't have to go around shouting that you are the boss, but let your work speak for you to show that you are the boss.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chidima. So we have one more question here, and it says some companies usually request your previous pay slip to confirm. So how do you negotiate that, especially with banks? So can we just answer in about 2 minutes?
Okay. So if it's the organizational policy, there's nothing you can do about it. If they request for a payslip, you need to provide it. But then remember what I said, that you should not forget. Ensure that you're giving value. So you may be coming from a position where you're underpaid, and this job is your possible opportunity to get to where you ought to be paid. And they're saying, oh, you're earning 15 naira, but you want to earn 200 naira. And so it's when you are giving value, the value that you're coming in with. That's when you'll be able to say, yes, I'm being underpaid here, but that doesn't mean that trend should continue. So again, if you are at a point where you're desperate to move, you will not be able to stand your ground. So that also comes to that point where I said, and don't look for your next job when you're desperate.
Yeah.
So let it also be at a place where if that organization is not willing to pay you the 200 naira that you would like to earn, you now need to make a decision, a comfortable decision. Can I continue to earn this 50 naira until I'm able to get 200 naira? Or maybe I should take this 100 naira that they are offering, as it will help me to move I'm moving closer towards the 50 naira, the 200 naira that I want to earn. Do not search for a job when you're desperate. Ensure that you're coming with value. It will help you to still negotiate despite what you're earning at the moment.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Chidima. Honestly, you've shared so much insights. There's one more question, but I'm just going to let you go. And if you want to reach out to Chidima after, please feel free to do so. One thing she's been emphasizing on a lot is make sure you're valuable and you have skills, because when skill and value is talking, I believe that money will follow immediately because you have evidence of the work. So let's stop having doings without evidence. Let's have evidence to back up our doings. Thank you so much, Chidima. Let's give her a round of applause as she exits. God bless you, and thank you so much
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So moving on swiftly, but before I go on, are we having a lovely time? If we're having a lovely time, let me see your reactions. Let me see your comments in the chat box. If you're learning a lot, let me know. Or should we stop the session now? We shouldn't go to the next speaker, because we don't save the best. We don't save the best for the last. The best is always has been coming up throughout this session. So are you having a good time? Should I wrap up? Should I tell 360 Dawn that we're done? What do we do? Okay, so it seems like we're having a lovely time. Is it only Eniola that is having a lovely time? Okay, awesome, awesome, awesome. Do not forget that this is being streamed, so you can share the link with your friends, your group chats, anyone who you believe should be listening to this. So right now, we're going to go straight into our last session for the day before we take the Q&A, and we're going to be talking on job hopping versus staying loyal. And this is a very interesting question, right? This is a very interesting topic, rather. Job hopping versus staying loyal. Which strategy gets you a bigger paycheck faster? And also how to evaluate whether switching jobs or growing within your current company is the best move for higher earnings. Personally, I'm even looking to this. I am very sure that my HR is not on this. So I'm looking forward to this session. And to take us on this session, we'll be having Florence Arong. I believe Florence is on the call. So I'm going to be telling you briefly about Florence. Florence is a seasoned back-end engineer at MoneyPoint with over 4 years of professional experience in the tech industry. She's a self-taught developer who later refined her skills at Decagon, where she distinguished herself as a top graduate in her cohorts. Her passion for creating robust technological solutions is complemented by her growing interest in blockchain, cybersecurity, writing, and travel. She is a back-end engineer at MoneyPoint. And with that, let us welcome Florence for her session. A round of applause. Thank you so much for joining us, Florence. Let's give her a round of applause as she comes up. Hi. Okay.
Hi. I've been in the comment section. I like the comment section, honestly. All right. So Fikemi has done all the introductions. My name is Florence. I prefer to be called Flora from time to time. But she said everything I need to say. So let's just hop into this very interesting topic. One thing Fikemi said when we started, for those who were early, she said 360 done. They talk about relevant topics, and this is definitely a relevant topic. Can you see the presentation, Fikemi? Let me know. Is presentation visible? Or
Let's know when it comes up. It's coming up. Okay, I can see it.
Okay. So something that I'm sure it has crossed the mind of one or two persons if you've worked for any length of time. Should I stay loyal to this company, especially when it's not your father that owns the company, or should I go? Today, we're going to talk about what job hopping means versus staying loyal and which strategies fits you better or fits you more. Okay. Issues here. Let's see. Okay, I got this. All right, so the big question, should we stay or should we go for Modo? I mean, everyone wants, or most people, I believe, want to grow their careers and also grow their bank accounts. I mean, you want to work in something that is, or for something that is fulfilling for you as a person, and you can see the evidence on your account statement every month. You don't want to be doing something where you feel you're just burnt out and there's nothing to show for it. So which one is really the smartest? Is loyalty rewarded, especially in Nigeria, or is changing jobs the fastest track to a bigger paycheck? Well, this is going to be a critical decision for anybody, whether you're in tech or you're in a non-tech field. So today we'll just explore a little bit of the data and hopefully we'll find what suits you better. All right. So why does this matter now? Even though I'm of the opinion that this has always mattered and will always matter, but we already know like the situation in Nigeria and how things, the inflation, how the economy is inflated, and how maybe what you used to buy for 100 naira before is now, say, 500 naira. And possibly your expense, or maybe the people or the things you're responsible for, if it's yourself as a single person or your family of 3 or 4, they still have those expenses. So you need to be able to evaluate like, okay, am I getting like my money's worth here at this place, or do I need to move? So this data here is something from Forbes that suggests that it's a research published on Forbes that suggests that 10 to 20%, like people who switch jobs get a salary increment between 10 to 20%. I think it's even more. I think it's even more than for people who stay loyal and maybe move roles in a particular company. But let's not jump into conclusions yet. Hold on a bit. Oh, I'd like us to be clear on something. So first off is definition. What do I consider job hopping? It is typically changing companies every, say, 1 to 3 years, while staying loyal is being at the company or being with one particular employer for, I would say, 5+ years, not even 4 years, like 5+ years, going to like a decade and or more. So the motivation usually for job hopping, first on the list, is almost always a higher salary and better title. Sometimes it's about leaving an environment you consider negative. And some motivations for staying loyal might be stability. Sometimes, or most times, I feel it's even cultural. I mean, growing at the being born basically at a particular time can make you likely to stay loyal to a company. So also something I saw on Forbes that Gen Zs are most likely to job hunt than bloomers or millennials. So yeah, that's one thing. Another thing might be you just believe in this company, the mission, the vision, and you want to watch or see how this company can grow. Now they have their disadvantages and advantages, which I'm not going to go into in depth. No, let's just move on. So a case for job hopping. All right, I'll start this with like a little story from a cousin of mine. So when I was asked to speak, I had to like talk to a few people I know that have been working for longer than I have, and I'm glad I did because I came up with like a lot of stories. So the first story is from a cousin, and he works in oil and gas. So I tried not to talk to tech people since I'm in tech. I wanted to get like other careers, their experience, people in other careers, their experience and all. So I know that he worked at a place for 3 years. I think it was on his 4th year, he job hopped to another company. But in that company, he got his pay, like base pay was lower, significantly lower, or maybe not significant, but lower than what he was paid in his old company. He said he took that job because it was something he wanted to learn. And that was not something that he was currently learning at his new place, at his current place of work, but it's a role he would go into and he would learn, and it will make him more valuable. Fast forward years later, he also moved to another company where he's earning significantly more than I believe he would have if he had stayed at any of the companies for that number of time. So one of the advantages of job hopping is significant salary. If you're leaving your company to go to another company, even if it's more often than not, it may not even be at the same role. When you go to another company, you're more likely going to go to a bigger role than if you had stayed and maybe requested for that bigger role. I mean, all things being equal. So you're most likely going to have like, I would say 10x is small, maybe like 30% increase in salary, sometimes even up to like double your salary you're going to get. You are going to have a different set of skills and experience as per my cousin. But if you're currently working, except maybe you're working like in a startup, where one thing I know of about startups may not be true for all, but that an employee tends to wear different hats. So for example, if you're in a startup, like a tech startup, you might like Kubi said he was the marketing manager, he was doing the websites for the company. You tend to wear a lot of hats, you tend to know a lot of things. But when you're in a more organized or slightly bigger company, you tend to specialize on one thing. And moving from one company to another can help broaden your skills, so you're not like solely focused on one place. Now, a case for staying loyal. Okay, before then, the downsides of job hopping. Well, if there's one thing that comes to mind is when you go for interview and then they ask you, so why are you leaving your previous place of employment? Then you know what you're going to have to tell them. But it makes you look, the downside or the risks of job hopping is it makes you look unserious. They may not take you seriously, especially if they see, oh, you're in this company 1 year, you're in this other one 6 months. You might come off as someone who's unserious. You might lack the depth of experience. Like the previous speaker mentioned, there is something that happens when you've stayed in one place and you've worked with time. Like there's an experience you get with time that you may not really get by just moving from one place to another. So you stand the risks of like losing that depth of experience. Okay. Now, a case for staying loyal and building value within. For this, I would also start with a story from another cousin of mine. He worked at this company for 13 years. When he told me, I was surprised actually. I knew he had worked at the company for a while, but I didn't know it was that long. He said he had worked at the company for 13 years. So within the company, he started off as a sales executive. So like I said, I was trying to get stories also outside tech, so everybody could be included. He started off pretty much as a sales rep, sorry, not even sales executive, like he was a sales rep. Then he went on to being a sales exec or marketing exec. Then within the company, they taught him auditing skills. So they had, I'm sure it was a company that values the growth of their dedicated staff. So they taught him auditing. So at some point he started auditing. Later on, that's within this is 13 years experience. Later on, he grew to managing the Department of Petroleum Resources within that company. And after a while, I think his CEO, seeing how dedicated he was, now moved him to be a regional depot manager. So now that is the advantages or one of the cases for staying within a company. If you find a company that values her employees, that want to see you grow, and that invest in your growth, you find yourself, like you find that you move from one place to another, just like in this case, you move from this to that and you learn a lot within the company. You would also learn a lot within the industry because all these positions he took, he wore basically different hats and he learned a lot. He told me that from this his position, he was able to meet people, organize workshop, relate to people who were like not just Nigerians and all of that. And this job, now he works for a different place. I'm sure he left them amicably. He left his former place amicably. But he said if he had not given that much time and dedication to his old company, he would not have had the experience in terms of like the 13 years of experience and also like the knowledge, because you can put on your CV 6 years, but there is a knowledge that comes that somebody who knows, okay, this person is lying, he does not have the 6 years of experience. So he left with not just skills, technical skills in his field, but he left with the knowledge of how to handle people, emotional intelligence, and also connection. So when you've worked for so long in a place like that, you would know not just people within the company, people within adjacent companies, you would know them and like you would network with them. It's easier to, meet up with somebody and be like, oh yeah, I know this guy, I know his work from this place, and the person gives you maybe an opportunity that otherwise you would not have had access to. Like this. Now the risks or the downsides is staying loyal. Like, while I spoke about this with the person I had this conversation with, he also he mentioned the risks of staying loyal. He said something which, well, maybe a bit controversial. I said the Nigerian ecosystem does not really allow for sustainable growth. While he was, I will not say lucky, because one of the questions I asked him was, how did he know that if he puts 10 years of his life into this company, he's going to grow this big? Because there are places where maybe they'll even fold up within the first 5 years, or they will even last up to 10 years, or they will get somebody else, maybe the CEO will get his son or his cousin or whatever to come and take a position where you are most suited for. And he said he did his background check about the company. He looked into their, I think most, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but companies tend to have their financial books like publicly available. So he looked through their books and knew that, okay, this company has like great financial standing, and he basically admired and worked for a while with the CEO of the company, like before he got employed. So he knew that, okay, this is a place I do not want to miss the opportunity of working with them. So, but besides that, if you don't do your research so much about the company and you end up being loyal, staying loyal to a company, some of the downsides you might face might be, one, like the first thing I mentioned, maybe internal politics. So the CEO or whoever is your line manager or boss decides that they want to bring their brother, their cousin, their friend, someone else to head the position that someone within the company will be more fit for. You might miss out on opportunities because you're trying to stay loyal, opportunities that could have helped you grow. Another like really bad thing is you become complacent. You're in your comfort zone. So there's this particular thing, you know a lot about this little thing, but if they should move you from there to a different place, you would struggle to fit in. And then you stand the risk of falling behind on market rates, which is also something he told me. So he said that while he was with them, his salary, of course, was not commensurate to say the experience and the role, but he had a goal. So besides the salary, in his own words, growth for him was not financial. Growth for him was skills, how he would build himself, and like meeting people, networking, and all that was great for him. But financially, he would not consider that he grew very well till his new job. So the question on everybody's mind, especially on Fikemi's mind, do I hop or do I stay for fastest pay growth? Ha. If we're talking about short-term gains and your short-term gains is for pay increments, then I think I'm just going to give a straightforward answer. Yes, job hop. But then if you're looking for long-term, or if you're trying to play a long-term game, then you have to think about several things. There is no right answer, there is no wrong answer. You need to think about several things. And some of the things you need to consider is like, one, your career stage. Now, while I was going through this, or while I was listening to the previous speakers, a lot of these were mentioned by them. For example, Fumi talked about your career stage, about how a junior developer was negotiating a 800K salary in Nigeria and all of that, and how even a senior dev in Nigeria may not be able to negotiate $5,000 salary. That's when converted to Naira, of course. So you need to take a lot of things into consideration. One, where are you now in your career? So when I started my tech career, my first, would I say, job internship was unpaid. So it was unpaid, and I was like, okay, I'm still building myself, I'm still building my skills and all of that. At this point, I could not be job hopping because where am I hopping to? I don't have the necessary skills, and I don't have the necessary skills. I'm just fresh out of learning this thing. Like she mentioned, I was self-taught for a while before I fine-tuned my skills later on. At this point, I was not in the best place to drop up, even if I wanted to. I needed to focus on myself. Then you need to look at the market conditions. You need to look at the market conditions. You need to look at, like the previous speaker said, it makes no sense calling a salary or job hopping to a place to get a salary and then it's not sustainable. Within 2-3 months, the company is maybe dropping you because they don't have financial buoyancy anymore. And you need to look at skill development. Like in the case of my cousin who job hopped but took a lower salary because he knew what his focus was. He knew that, okay, I need this skill to go XYZ. So if your goal is to grow, like develop your skill, that's what I mean, develop your skill. You need to think, this company I'm working with, are they giving me chances, or do they give me the chance to grow my skill the way I want to grow my skill? So if I want to be better at Java, am I doing Java jobs in this company, or am I just doing React front-end jobs? That's what you need to look at. Then you now know, okay, fine, yes, they are giving me the chance to be a better Java developer. Okay, I will stay. Or no, they are not. Then let me look for something that will give me a better opportunity at being a good Java developer. Then you look at total compensation, like the speaker before me said. Sometimes it's not just about your base salary, it's about what benefits. So company A might give you, your current company might be fully remote, and say the salary is 20 naira, and then this company you want to move to might be on-site, fully on-site, and then it's, but then the company is in VI and you live at Ogba. You need to consider those things. So we might take home, be able to take me home, considering maybe Lagos traffic, rising cost of fuel. So you wake up today and transportation from here to point A to point B that was previously 500 is now 15. So would you now say because of that, you're going to leave this company? Right. So next, so regardless of what you choose, like I said, or like the point I was trying to make, what you choose will depend on what you want for yourself. But regardless of what you choose, whether you choose to stay or you choose to go, negotiation is not negotiable. And to think that this presentation deck was made without any knowledge of what the previous speaker will talk about. So it seems that this talk of negotiation cannot be overemphasized. So whether you are job hopping, you must negotiate your starting salary. Like Fumbi said, your starting salary will form, more often than not, form the basis of what you'll be paid. So even if later on the company now says, okay, we are going to do it like 20% or 30% increment in everybody's salary, it's going to be based off what was your current salary. And then if you choose to remain loyal, then you then you have to be able to negotiate for raises, for promotion, for your salary to be adjusted according to market value. Right, let's just move back. So one of the a few things that will help you while job hopping is this: document your achievements, know your internal pay bands. Like this is something the previous speaker spoke of. It's not very feasible, or I think we're trying in Nigeria, but it's not very all the time. It's not very easy to know what the company pays if you don't have someone in the company, because we don't have publicly available data on Glassdoor and all for most Nigerian companies. But if possible, try to find that achievements, especially as a tech person. It's hard to, like, a fallen victim of this. It's hard to know that, oh, okay, I'm achieving this. I mean, you're just happy writing code. I realize that you're written your code, it works, the test works great to see people are using it. But what will help you in this point A, documenting your achievement as a tech person, is to speak with your product manager. They know how what you're doing ties with the company goals, and they know this thing in terms of numbers. Like one example was like there's a place I was working, and there's this feature they asked us to do. When we finished it was quite stressful. When we finished it, we're just happy that we did it. But at the next company-wide meeting, they mentioned how the feature reduced time, like cut time in half to deal with like claims. And I was like, this simple thing we work. So you're just so focused on the bits and bytes of your code that you don't see the bigger picture. But that bigger picture is going to help you, whether you're negotiating within your company and say, oh, this is the value I have brought, or you're trying to, move to another company. I'm not going to talk much about this because I believe the previous speaker spoke a lot about the skills you need to have when you're entering a salary conversation with any company, whether it's with your current company telling them, oh, you deserve a raise, or it's with a new company you're trying to move to. So you need to know your worth, like she said. You need to be able to quantify your value. Say, okay, I've been able to cut the time that this company, our company uses in doing this from, say, 24 hours to 4 hours. I have saved the company 1 million naira in this. You need to be able to do that. Obviously, you need to be able to practice your speech. You need to be able to speak confidently and calm and collaborative. You're not fighting the HR or whoever it is you're having your salary conversations with. You guys they want to see that you are giving your best, and they're also giving you the best that they can. So key takeaways for your financial future. Hopping often guarantees short-term financial gains. More often than not, it guarantees short-term financial gains. Staying loyal will more often than not guarantee long-term growth in terms of you being seen as a reliable professional in that space. So while there is no single right answer about whether you should hop or you should stay, always know that negotiation is critical in whatever you decide to do. And you alone know your life situation, your goals, your vision for the future. So with that in mind, you need to be strategic about what your plans are. Thank you very much. I hope I have not used too much of or gone above my time.
Thank you so much, Flora. Let's give her a round of. Honestly, that question is a very important question. So do you hop or do you stay loyal? And we Gen Zs, I mean, you just have to do what works, right? But may I believe in God, so may God guide everyone. So thank you so much, Flora. Right now, quickly, we're going to have a quick 10 minutes Q&A session. We don't want to overextend. We're meant to wrap up for about 11:30, but we're going to extend it just a little bit for 10 minutes to have a Q&A segment. So I'm going to be inviting Fumbi up. I don't know if he's still on the call. Is
Yes,
Fumbi?
I'm still here.
Okay. Okay, so I just want to, awesome. So do we have questions for them in the chat box? We can go ahead and drop it. Awesome. Okay. So this is our panel session. While they're dropping their questions, I have a question for you both, right? So we're going to be quick with it and everything. So the first question is, what's one salary negotiation mistake you made early in your career that still makes you cringe? And what did you learn from it? The mistake you made when you just started, like for example, Fumbi when he was collecting 50K. Like what, you know, mistake did you make that when you think about it, it makes you cringe and yet, and what did you learn from it?
Okay, let me go. So I'll say it's in two phases, right? The first one was the 50K thing, not aligning clearly as to what the job role and responsibilities are. Because it got so bad at some point. Even my co-workers were telling me, did you like what's your arrangement with the company? Because everything that concerns IT, we're seeing you all over it. What's your actual arrangement with the company? So there's that, not clearly understanding the role. Then I think subsequently after that was another session where we were negotiating the salary, and I was not clearly stating that I'm negotiating my net salary, not gross salary. So I was negotiating, say I was negotiating 15 naira, for instance, and we're all aligning. Okay, it's 15 naira, right? Yes, it's 15 naira. Then after the whole thing, I was seeing after I got the offer, I was now seeing a breakdown of my 15 naira, and it was looking like it's like 14 naira I'll be taking home. Do you get? So something like that. I mean that those were like the two highlights for me, and obviously it boils down to ensure you're negotiating net. Specify that this salary we're negotiating is it my net salary or my gross salary. Let everybody be aligned on that call, and you can have the conversation as much as you want to.
Okay, for me, I go next, right?
Yes, you do. Well done, Fumbi. You've escaped.
For me, it will be confidence. It will be knowing your worth. And that's why I asked the second speaker that question. Because the first time I had to negotiate salary, I was scared. I was so scared. I mean, I was like, oh, well, what if I'm not good enough? What if this? What if that? I mean, I passed through technical interviews. I passed through an interview with the CTO of the company, and I was hired based on my own business. So why was I so scared? There's one thing I thought maybe I'm the only person in that field, in that mental space that okay, is it just like a woman thing or is it just me? So come calm where you want to come calm. Know that they are not doing you a favor. You are exchanging your knowledge, your time, and any other resource. And this is what you get in exchange. So come knowing your value. I think that's basically what I'm going to say. Was like, let me say, but I thank God it didn't go so bad, because I had male friends around who were telling me, no, more, more. But if it were just me, I
Well
probably
done.
would have opted for. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to say well done. Thank you, Flora and
Okay,
Funbi.
okay.
I think those are interesting experiences, and there's a lot to learn. Like for Funbi, he said your gross and your net is not the same. Oh. Don't put yourself in trouble. Like you separate your gross from your net, let your take home take you home. And for Flora, she talked about confidence, being confident, have audacity. That's what the women, the ladies on this call today, what we're taking back is have audacity. Don't be scared to, charge your worth and say what you truly believe you deserve. Okay, so the next question I have, since I haven't got any question on the chat, is in a situation where salary is non-negotiable, what are some benefits or perks you can negotiate instead? So in a situation where you can't exactly negotiate the salary, but you really want to work in the company. For example, there are some companies, Fumbi, Flora, like there's some companies that will call you, you'll be like, oh, a dream company. But then when they see the salary, you'll be like, but then you'll be thinking, if I have this on my CV though, I can leverage it. So what perks or what can you what other benefits will you consider, in a situation where you can't negotiate salary? Flora, then
Okay.
for me.
First thing I'll consider is it has to be 100% remote. I mean, if your salary is not negotiable and it's not, let me leave it there, then I am not going to sit in Lagos traffic. So it has to be 100% remote. Then I have to have good HMO. I not one, yeah, good HMO and 100% remote. I think that is it for me.
Okay, from Fumbi's reaction, it seems like he agrees. Fumbi,
Yes, I definitely agree. 100% true. So, funny enough, me, I also have my negotiation for the company, a counter negotiation I usually do. If your salary is non-negotiable and you're telling me to come to your company every single day of the week, so what I do is I have remote price, hybrid price, and on-site price that
The
I give to
confidence we're
companies.
talking about. This is the male confidence
Yes.
we're talking about.
the
Yes.
audacity.
I will tell you. And I actually had that negotiation with the company, and to be like, I think it sort of boosts my confidence as well. Like this is a conversation I will definitely continue to have because it helps you weed out those that are not interested in growth. So when the company tells you, oh, our salary is this, and me, I want my salary, your salary is 15 naira, me, I want to earn 17 naira. How are we going to align? Would you be willing for me to stay fully remote and I'll manage your 15 naira? Is that something you also can do? And another thing you want to consider is for me, things I'm doing now is that if I'm going to negotiating any salary with the company, and you're saying your salary is fixed, no problems. But I'll consider the brand of that company. Um, your your 700k or say 800k or 900k in a startup can get you so far. But imagine having X Flutterwave or X Google or X Microsoft on your CV. Do you get? So the brand as well of that company is something I would also be looking at before I say, okay, I'm not taking it or I'm taking it.
Hmm. Lovely. Thank you so much for that. And the last question I saw someone say there are a few contributions, basically that the HMO opportunity for career growth in terms of funding trainings. Oh, that's very important because some certifications are like $1,000, like $500. So if they pay for those, you know, payments for some certifications, and at the end of the day, it should be a win-win situation. Awesome. A win-win conversation rather. So the last question before we wrap up I have for you guys is if someone receives a low ball offer, so basically the offer isn't a great one, what's the best way to push back without losing the opportunity altogether? So when you're offered, like they tell you their price and everything or what they're ready to pay, how do you navigate it without seeming, like I beg, how much you want to pay me? And then how do you handle that situation without losing the opportunity? Flora, would you like to go first?
We should go first. like to hear what he has to say.
Okay, Kombi, because you're laughing a lot. It's like you have
No, 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 no. Okay. So to be honest, is it really an opportunity if it is not, if there is no financial fit involved? So if you're receiving a low ball offer, one thing so when you're having conversations about salary, you need to understand that, let me give, for instance, you are, this low ball salary would most likely tell you to come on site every day. When you go on site to work for people, one thing you need to understand is there are phantom costs attached to you going on site. Your feeding is at stake because obviously I'm at home now. I can eat by 4 p.m. But if I'm on site, I would have to eat during the day. Do you understand? And I'll most likely not cook from home. I'll order child deck, stuff like that. Your feeding is at stake. Your transportation is there. You are a fine girl, you're a fine boy, you'll be changing outfits subsequently. Your clothing and your housing is there as well. So if you factor all of this into your negotiation and you're looking at the offer and you understand that this is a low ball offer, would you say because of that you want to run into debt just to serve a company? So, like I said, is it really an opportunity if it is a low ball offer? Because my definition of a low ball offer is someone, you are a mid level engineer or a senior level engineer, and someone is paying you 100K in Nigeria. That's in my own definition of a low ball offer. Do you understand? So, I'm just saying, hypothetically, do you get, that's my idea of what a low ball offer is. So, is it really an opportunity if it is not going to foot the bills, if it's not going to take you home? So another thing you can consider is if it is a manageable offer, you need to emphasize on the value you're offering the company and also factor in the benefits. And if all the factors that you've put into play, like we've all discussed on this call, doesn't, if your take home is still not taking you home, it's just best you look for other opportunities. Opportunities don't come once in tech jobs, it comes as much as you can take them.
awesome. Thank you so much, Kombi. That's so important. And that one you described is not low. That's not even ball. Like that's not even ball. But yeah, Flora, do you have something to add to that?
Yeah, he's absolutely right. I wanted to even start with what do you mean by low ball? Because maybe you're earning, say, 500 in your current place, and this new place offers you 400. Is that low ball, or is this new place offering you 200 or 150? One, what do you should have goals in mind. Why are you moving to this company? Why going, especially if it's not your first job. If it's your first job, you might be tempted to take anything because you're trying to make ends meet, you don't really have anything. But if it's not your first job and like you're moving to a new job, why do you want to go there? It's something that is aligned with your growth. Say there's something you're going to learn there. Maybe in your new place, you did more of front end and you want to be very strong at the back end. Is that what they're offering? Then if they are and other benefits are okay for you, then right, you might as well take it. But if it's not, you're doing front end here, you're probably not going to do anything related to back end there. Why are you stressing yourself? But again, if it's something that is your first gig, I'm sure for myself was really happy when they were paying him his 500,000 minus 10 at the back. When he initially got the first month, I'm sure he was very happy because he was not making anything before that time. So you get, if you're starting from zero, maybe you like to consider it. I'm not saying you must, but maybe you want to. But if you're not and you're somewhere else, you have to think about like what's your long-term goal before you know whether okay, I'll try to push back a little bit. And if they agree, fine. If they don't, okay, I'll still take it. Or you be like, no, this is not for me at all.
Awesome. Thank you so, so much. A round of applause for them. Thank you so much. Honestly, this session has been very insightful. I don't know if you've learned a lot from this session, please drop your reactions, drop your comments. I personally have learned a lot and I am going to definitely practice them. And I'm sure even our speakers got to learn from each other as well. So thank you so much. And a huge thank you to 360 CareerWise for putting this together. It's really lovely to have platforms for our getting better as people, especially in the country. So thank you so, so, so much. We really appreciate it. Do not forget to follow us on Instagram at 360 Dawn, on LinkedIn at 360 Dawn. And once again, I'm sure we've learned a lot of things on here. So on LinkedIn, on Instagram, if you want to post on your stories or make a post on LinkedIn, tag us, and 360 Dawn has something special in store for you. So they're going to be looking out for your posts. If you have maybe like a short draft of certain things that were shared and you tag them, you will be getting something special. It might be Benz, it might be 800K salary. I know it would definitely not be 500 salary minus zero. So tag us, let them know, and we'll definitely be looking out for your feedback. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe. That's very important. So you get notified when we're having our next session. And on that note, I'm Hikemi Adiroju. Thank you once again for your time. Have an amazing weekend ahead. And yes, goodbye. Thank you, Fumbi. Thank you, Flora. Bye. Bye, everyone. Have a lovely weekend.
Stand in the rain as the clouds got gray. On the rose of the earth sings. The season's just beginning. Sunlight it hides as the clouds make way. From the pouring of my blessings, I will not be afraid. I see it now, I understand, I know. So I embrace it, dance in the rain. It's for my feet to grow. For every prayer and every seed I've sown, Lord of the harvest knows I'm bringing back 100-fold. The land is green, it's green. Oh, oh, the land is green, it's green. Can't you see? Harvest told me so. It's green for me. It's green. Standing alone can be a heavy load. But my vows I won't be breaking.
Oluwafikemi.
Though my heart is aching,
Excellent, man.
and I won't let go. It's your
Hello.
will I'm seeking, so I keep on believing. I see.
Fikemi. Your Excellency.
I understand, I know, so I embrace it. Then
Your Excellency. Oh, you are.
I don't know if you can hear me.
Your Excellency, man.
I'm
Your
even in a
Excellency,
bit of a
man.
hurry. I meant to pick my brother. I meant to pick my brother from boarding school. I've just been keeping everybody waiting.
All right, no problem.
So I
Thank
might
you
need to.
so much. I really appreciate it. I'll call you later. You can quickly go and attend to that, please. Thank you so much. That was awesome.
Okay, sir.
I think this is one of the earliest that we're also finishing again. Thank you. Thank you
Yeah, I
so
was
much.
very conscious of the time, and it was
Yeah,
still a good.
yeah, it was
Yes, sir.
really timely. I was looking at it too. So I'll catch up with you later now so that you can quickly attend to your program.
All right, sir.
All right. Thank you.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir.